My son invited me to Thanksgiving, then left me standing beside the dining room wall while 14 people took their seats. I almost didn't go. When Mark called me 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I was sitting in my garage organizing old tools when his name appeared on my phone. We hadn't spent a holiday together in years, so I stared at the screen longer than I should have before answering. "Dad, we're hosting Thanksgiving this year," he said. "I want you to come." I stopped sorting through my tools. "Are you sure?" "Yeah, everyone will be here. Mom, Sarah, the kids, her parents. It'll be good having everyone together again." For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. After my wife passed away, holidays became different. The house felt empty. I got used to smaller meals, quiet evenings, and hearing about family gatherings afterward instead of being part of them. I wasn't expecting everything to suddenly become perfect. I just wanted to feel like I still had a place in my son's life. "All right," I said, "I'll come." On Thanksgiving morning, I drove to Mark's house carrying a homemade apple pie and gifts for my grandchildren. When he opened the door, he smiled. "Dad, you made it." He gave me a quick hug and took the pie. "Come in. Everyone's in the living room." The first few hours actually felt good. I talked with Sarah about her new job. I helped Ethan put together one of his toys. Lily sat beside me and asked if I remembered teaching her how to ride a bike. "I remember you falling into the grass and blaming the bike," I joked. She laughed. For a while, I forgot how much distance had grown between us. Then dinner was ready. Everyone started walking toward the dining room. That was when I noticed something. 14 people entered the room. 14 chairs were already occupied. Sarah sat beside Mark. Her parents had seats across from them. My grandchildren had their own places. Even Mark's friend from college had a chair waiting. I stood near the doorway holding my napkin. I looked at Mark. Where should I sit? He looked around like he had just noticed the problem. "Oh, Dad, I'm sorry. We must have miscounted." I waited. I thought he would grab another chair. He didn't. Instead, he picked up his glass and said, "You can just stand there for now. We'll figure something out." I stared at him. "You want me to stand?" He shrugged. "Dad, it's just dinner." Nobody laughed. Nobody moved. Nobody said anything. So I stood there. I watched everyone eat while I leaned against the dining room wall. I watched my son laugh with people who had known him for years, less than I had. I watched my grandchildren pass dishes around while I stood behind them like I was waiting to be served. Nobody offered me their seat. Nobody apologized. Nobody even looked uncomfortable. Then Ethan looked over. "Grandpa, why aren't you sitting?" The room went silent. Mark looked at him. "Buddy, just eat your food." That was when I stopped waiting. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't ask my son for a place at his own table. I walked to the hallway, grabbed my coat, picked up my empty pie dish, and headed for the front door. Mark finally noticed. "Dad, where are you going?" I turned around. "Home." He frowned. "Come on, don't make this a big deal." I looked back at the dining room. 14 people. 14 chairs. You already made it one. Then I left. The drive home was quiet. The next morning, I opened the folder where I kept my financial records. Years earlier, Mark had asked me for help buying his house. He had a good job, but he didn't have enough saved for the down payment. I loaned him money because he was my son. Later, he wanted to renovate his kitchen. He told me things were difficult, so I helped again. Every time, he made the same promise. "Dad, I'll pay you back next month." Next month never came. I added everything together and looked at the total. I had spent years helping him because I believed family meant supporting each other. But support was supposed to go both ways. I sent him a message. "We need to discuss the money you owe me. I want to set up a payment plan." He called within minutes. "Seriously? After Thanksgiving?" I stayed calm. "Yes, after Thanksgiving." He sighed. "You're doing this because you're upset." "No, Mark, I'm doing this because I'm done pretending everything is fine." After that, I changed. I stopped being the person everyone called whenever they needed something. I stopped paying for things. I stopped solving problems that weren't mine. I stopped showing up just to be ignored. A few weeks later, the first payment arrived, then another, then another. 6 months later, Mark called. "Dad, would you come over for dinner?" I paused. "Will there be a chair?" There was silence. Then he answered quietly. "Yes, there will be a chair." A chair. When I arrived, a place was already set for me at the table. Nobody gave a speech. Nobody made excuses. But before dinner started,